Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a very special From Flopular to Popular edition of Monster Party.
Monster Party.
Monster Party.
Monster Party. See, I made up a word, flopular. That's not even really a word.
I like it.
But I
That's a
like
good
it too. I think everyone should start using it. Let's get this thing going.
Well,
Let's
you're,
make this a meme.
you're the monster Shakespeare.
I
Tell you.
Yes. I'm certainly not John from the Beatles, apparently, but that's okay. We'll get to that later. You know what? I'm really happy once again to see all of you guys and to hear your voices and to be doing this special episode. But before we get to that, I am Matt Weinhold.
I am SHAWN SHERIDAN.
I'm Larry Strothe.
And I'm James Gonis.
And for this episode, we're going to delve into a topic that we've touched on before, but this is one of those topics where you get into that place of re-examining a movie that maybe you thought was bad or other people think is bad, and maybe they're wrong. Maybe they're just not looking at the film in the right way.
I would say it's also like movies that you just find very entertaining, period, regardless of what the production values are
Exactly.
or the acting or anything. It's just something that you like watching. If it's entertaining, to me, that's in its own way a good movie.
Very
So-
well said, John.
So what is this topic?
The topic is bad movie, or is it?
Bad movie, or is it?
Bad movie, or is it?
This
Maybe
is
it's
the
not.
thing. People
Maybe
argue.
it's a good movie.
Yes.
Maybe you
What's-
thought it was bad, but I
yeah.
think it's good.
What's
I don't
good? What's
know.
bad? Is it? It's all
It's all
subjective.
relative. It's
Yeah.
all
Or is someone
situational.
or is someone just wrong? You're just absolutely
Oh, there we go.
wrong.
That's the Larry I've been waiting to show up.
But Matt, speaking of wrong and right, I mean, we need a special guest
Wrong.
to
Oh,
guide us through this
you
topic.
got
Don't you
away
think?
with people, Larry. You really do.
What? What?
One person's wrong is another person's right.
That's
And
right.
there is nothing more right than our guest for tonight. She is
Oh,
a
yeah.
longtime
Mhm.
friend of mine. We've known each other for what? Like, I don't know, like 30 years?
Yeah,
And
30 years.
Yes, yeah.
yeah.
She
Which is
a
weird. I'm
rid-
only 31.
Well, there you we met in the crib, and I don't want to tell tales, but anyway, she is a ridiculously talented writer. She's written for the legendary show Mystery Science Theater 3000. Yeah, heard of it much? Yeah.
Oh.
No.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And she has just lent her magic to a favorite project of ours, Hangin' with Dr. Z.
Hanging with Dr.
Ah.
Z.
Good old Dr. Z. Please welcome for the first time on Monster Party, Tammy Golden.
Tammy
Woo!
Golden.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Thanks for
Tammy.
being here.
Great to see you. It's great.
I am-
Well, you can't see me.
We can see her, and she looks
Like,
fabulous.
the audience at large can't. So
It's yeah,
great to-
but
hear me.
what a voice! What a nice
Thank you.
voice.
thank you.
Sultry and authoritative.
I just want to know, you guys have been friends, you've known for 30 years. Why is it taking her this long to get on our show?
Well, it's just one of those
He
things. Where
said we've known each other 30 years. Doesn't mean-
yeah, we don't live together. I mean,
yeah, we're not friends.
yeah.
Right.
We had just
You
like
know
Martin,
of each other.
just like Martin and Lewis. We had a problem for a while,
Right.
and then we worked it out.
Oh my
But
goodness.
yeah, she is. Tammy, you're one of these people who I met you, and then you just know a kindred spirit. In fact, one of my prized possessions, Tammy gave me a one-sheet poster for Akira.
Ah,
No.
How do you like
Nice.
that? Yes.
Nice. Nice.
And-
Whoa.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the kind of
Got that
Rule
opening
of a
day
person.
at the first screening of Akira in Chicago.
Yeah.
Wow.
wow. I didn't know that. Wow.
So give it
That's
back.
if you need it, I will.
No.
I'll do what I
Please
can.
no. Please no.
But we're delighted to have you. And so for this topic, we figured you'd be great for this because working on MST 3000, you've seen your share of bad movies.
Yeah.
And, it's interesting when I look at the roster of all the films that MST has done, There are a lot of them where I go, well, that's not really a bad movie. I understand why it was chosen for the show because there are moments and
Right,
things
sure.
that are funny or whatever, camp. But some of these films I think are genuinely good, at least for the time or the budget or what they were trying to do. You know, did they
Right.
fulfill the mission of what they were trying to accomplish? And so, Tammy, if you have one right off the bat that you could give us that you think is a movie that most people or critics would say is a bad movie, but maybe you've re-examined it.
Well, I will say that one of my favorite movies, are you saying MST or just movies?
No,
in
anything,
general?
anything at all.
A movie that was hated at the time and is my favorite just about of all time is Hudsucker Proxy.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Coen
I
Brothers.
was having, Coen Brothers and Sam Raimi. And I mean, it's a
Right.
double, even Bruce Campbell in there quickly. But
Yes.
I thought it just absolutely blew my mind. And it just got panned
Oh,
or
yeah.
just like no one knew about it. It's like, but the pants have a flashback. I've never seen a movie where the pants have a flashback of their own. No, it was beautiful and hilarious. And oh boy, people hated it.
I have to
And-
go back to this.
Oh, I agree with Tammy, and I wanted to ask Tammy a question. I think it's one of those things where people didn't know what to expect exactly. You have an amazing cast. You know, Tim
Yes.
Robbins, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Paul Newman, Charles Durning, John Mahoney. I mean, and of course,
Everyone.
and
Yeah.
Sam Raimi's direction. I mean, you know, you're going to get this roller coaster type thing. Everyone is great. I didn't know where it was. I actually, Tammy, I had no idea where it was going to go. And Tammy, this is what I think. I think it has to do with Jennifer Jason Leigh. Her character was doing this Katharine Hepburn type.
I was talking career girl. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess part of it was it seemed like it was an actress trying to act really hard to act. And I think if they made it maybe a little more subtle, not as hard hitting, maybe it might have worked a little better. She's still fun, I think. But for listeners, if you haven't checked out this film, I totally agree with Tammy. Give it another shot because you have this guy who starts in a mailroom and the big bosses have this idea, hey, you know, to make a lot of money, we're going to make the stock go down, then we're going to buy up all the stock. And so they decide to get someone from the mailroom, kind of an idiot to run the company kind of a thing. And what this idiot does, and I don't want to give it away, but it's so beautiful and wonderful and fun to watch. And then, of course, you have Sam Raimi's wonderful like movement direction and like where he's moving and what he does with the camera. And there's this really funky battle that happens where it seems like time stops. Tammy, I'm with you. I saw it at a theater. There were maybe 3 people in the theater. And at the end of it, and Tammy, I thought, I looked around and I went, doesn't anyone know about this? And Paul Newman, huge star. But I guess, Tammy, it didn't hit with the audience out there. And it's one of those things where I'd love to watch it. If it's on, I will watch it. And I would ask listeners, if you haven't seen it, beautifully shot, beautifully acted, really interesting story. It has this funky, fantastic element in it, which is very Sam Raimi-esque.
Right.
I'd check it out. But I agree with you, Tammy.
Thank you. I know I'm right.
Is it the thing with Jennifer Jason Leigh?
I didn't mind that because it struck me as comedy so fast that she was doing such an exaggerated thing.
Yeah.
And it fits
Right.
within
of
the
that,
world.
of that classic, like you said,
The Big
fast talking
Lebowski.
40s reporter kind of thing
Yeah.
or whatever.
In
Yeah.
the Big Lebowski, there's, Maud, I think is the name of that character, has this ridiculous accent that is British and, and New England and American. And it's hilarious because it must have been very hard for her to do. I actually,
I love her. I think she's great in everything. And I think they created a world and she was perfectly appropriate for that world.
We're talking about Jennifer Jason Leigh and
yes.
Yeah, she was perfect, and Tim Robbins was perfect as that idiot. That's just from the Black Idiot. And
I gotta see this again. I haven't seen it in years.
The school dance that it's just, I was laughing a lot and people were looking back at me annoyed. Why?
But the inventions, just it made me so happy. And I don't want to say what it is because I'd rather people check it out.
Right, if they haven't seen it.
I think people, if it had come out today, which I guess it wouldn't have, people would know much more what to expect from Coen's and Raimi's. But,
right. It's true.
But I guess in the early 90s, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't, they just weren't thinking about it. Anyway, also, if you remember, The Shining, when it first came out, was panned.
Oh, that's right. Yes, that's a very good point.
Right.
Yeah.
I would still argue the best horror movie in history, or one of the top 3.
Ooh.
And I think it was Ebert gave it a terrible review, just scathing, and then he retracted it later, which is
he retracted a number of things.
Why follow a critic who just changes his mind on movies?
Yeah, he hated Night of the Living Dead. He retracted that.
It's ridiculous. It's like a high-profile critic that you're supposed to be going to for some advice on what to see, and then I changed my mind. He was a big
blowhard who.
Come on.
He was.
Unlike Pauline Kael, who hated everything, he liked weird stuff.
But I thought Gene Siskel liked more unusual
for the most
things than he did. I thought they both hated anything like
they would have
horror.
they would have their dog of the week, and they would talk about movies, but sometimes they would bring up other movies that they hadn't even seen, but they're just judging them by their posters or their ad campaigns and saying, "Oh, this is a terrible." And it was just, it's just bad.
And not to get off on a tangent, but really quickly, one of my instructors at AFI was Leslie Stevens, who created The Outer Limits. And he explained to me one of the things that he detested about Siskel and Ebert. He said, it wasn't when they started, because they could review a film and say, you know what? It's neat. It's not the greatest film, and it's neat. It's got some neat elements. In other words, there was like a middle. Tammy, there was like a middle ground. Maybe on a scale of 1 to 5, they give it a 3 or something like that. But what happened is they turned into this thing, like Sean said, a dog of the week, or the thumbs up and the thumbs down. And Leslie hated that. He said, people never go out of their way to make a bad film project, and to be like an emperor, live or die.
To judge a movie
so incredibly harsh.
But it caught on. That was their thing.
And it's also they got more popular and more powerful as critics. That's when it really hurt filmmakers.
Yeah, and I think look, listeners at home. I mean, we all work on our own creative projects. You know how hard it is to do these things, and I'm not saying that there's a really crappy film not to give it a thumbs down, but it's such a harsh thing. It's either good, see it, or not. Nothing in between. And you can't say, look, if you like films about this, I found it interesting. It's neat. Now, if you don't like movies about kitties, then forget it, So you know what I mean? And that was the thing. It was just way too harsh.
Yeah. It was back in the day when, kind of like in theater, when like the first opening of a play and like some big critic could literally make or break the careers in the play completely by giving, they'd wait for the review. Yeah, I hate that. I hate applying that to movies too.
And then it became a skill, Sean. It's like, how clever and creative can I this project?
Oh my God!
Don't you feel like it's like, so you're a critic. You can't make your own project yourself.
Right.
Now, Roger Ebert tried.
Yeah.
And
The Valley of the Dolls.
And you gotta hand it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did actually create something quite wonderful.
But that's the thing, that he would later criticize movies for being misogynistic or whatever. He wrote frickin' Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. So it's it's hypocrite.
Well, this is the other thing that gets me to about reviewers, and especially them. I get really tired of a horror movie comes out, and it's changed a little bit, but a horror movie would come out and someone would review it and they go, "Oh, it's violent," and of course it's violent. It's a horror movie.
It's uncomfortable and scary.
But if we find someone who likes horror movies to review this, because obviously you don't.
In terms of The Shining, expectations were really high at the time. And when I saw it, my expectations were maybe a little tempered because I wasn't a big Kubrick fan. But when I saw it, I was kind of disappointed, but I did want to see it again and again. And that's part of
it. It infects your mind.
Yeah.
Like Mulholland Drive. The first time I saw it, I'm like,
yes.
And then the next day,
it gets under your skin.
It's infected my brain. I have to watch this again and again and again.
Yeah.
Right.
When that movie came out, that was such an iconic Stephen King story that people wanted that book come to life. And it wasn't the book, it was a Kubrick movie. Right. And I was thrown off a little bit, but like you, I wanted to see it again, James. Because I loved Kubrick. And so those elements kept my attention. And then each time you see it, a lot of people say, oh, it's not really that scary. And I wouldn't say it's scary, but it is creepy.
It's unnerving.
Yeah.
Scary is easy. Scary is jump cuts.
Jump scares.
Jump scares. Sorry, not jump cuts are scary.
Jump cuts are scary too. It's like, who's your editor?
Yeah. Ooh, bad editing. Ooh, skitty.
Kind of a jump scare. Oh my God. But creepy is a really hard thing to get.
Yes.
And there's very few masters of it. And that is about the creepiest film of all time.
And Tammy, if I may add, I think that the film came out a while back, a while ago. And it's one of those films where you can watch it now and go, oh, I remember the scene. And oh, the blood coming out is neat. And the thing about the film, when you watch it for the first time, you have a sense of uneasiness through the whole thing. Yeah. And I remember when I saw it, and that feeling, that memory that I have, I was scared and I was tense the whole time. It's like when you said at the beginning, when they're driving in the car and you go, I know that this is going to end up badly. He's going to kill everybody. He saw it on the TV set. You just know there's tension and the way the music goes and where the scenes happen, there was an uneasy tension. You say creepy, but see, I didn't trust it. I didn't trust the film.
Right.
Because I didn't know what was going to happen. Unlike
it's
James,
a flavor of creepy, that tension. Yeah.
I say it's creepy, but it was scary to me.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of those films that over time, I think people have reassessed. And I think way more people like it now than they did at the time.
Oh, yeah.
As they should.
It's considered like
a classic.
Yeah. When people say horror movies, that's going to be on the top 3 of everybody's list. Who knows anything?
Right.
Okay, so here's a movie that, as you were talking about Hudsucker Proxy, I was thinking of, this is a movie I saw in the theater, and I think I liked it way more than anybody in the audience did. And I know it has so many detractors, but there are things within this film that I think are very interesting. It's flawed. It's maybe not the greatest film ever made, but I'm talking about Natural Born Killers. And a lot of people don't like that movie, and I understand why, but there's a lot of really interesting things in it. And maybe it doesn't work as a full piece, but there are individual scenes where I go, oh man, that was really clever. That was really nicely done. And it's one of those films that you wish someone could take another crack at with the editing, and kind of, if you shaved it down, but I enjoyed it. And I know that I'm, the minority.
To me, it would almost be a companion piece to Clockwork Orange in the way that it's just kind of distanced looking at these psychos and this kind of behavior. And I walked out of both movies feeling about the same way.
Yucky?
Yeah, kind of.
I would say that Clockwork Orange is much more focused as far as what it's trying to do. And
not in the same league whatsoever. But
no, not in the same league, but I just sort of look at them as sort of a piece in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried very hard to like Oliver Stone. I really have.
I'm with you. I'm totally with you.
I did not. I don't like the ultra violence for the sake of violence, but people loved Nixon. The movie Nixon was. And I remember just scratching the.
I never even saw that one actually.
I almost
and JFK is
pinnacle
ridiculous.
Of science fiction.
But in Nixon, when he's eating a rare steak, there's blood on my hands. Like, oh come on.
A very uneven career.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I just recently watched The Hand, the Michael Caine Killer Hand movie that directed by Oliver Stone, before he went and did Platoon and everything else.
I didn't know that was Oliver Stone.
Yeah, and the thing is, you watch The Hand and it's this schizophrenic movie because on one hand, it's Oliver Stone trying to make this real important kind of multi-level story about the isolation and not connecting with people and post-traumatic syndrome. No, it's a drive-in movie about a killer hand choking people. That's it. And if you watch it that way, it's enjoyable. And he actually fought with the producers because he didn't want to put in all these other shots of people, more shots of the hand crawling around and killing people. That's what makes the movie fun. It's it's half a pretentious movie and half a drive-in movie.
For the hand.
Yeah, it's called The Hand.
And that's the thing, is that he is beyond. He is beyond pretentious.
Yeah, he really is.
Natural Born Killers is very pretentious.
Yeah.
However, there are scenes within that movie where I'm like, hey, that's pretty good.
They're isolated segments, yes.
And so that's one of those things where, for me, that's a movie that most people think is bad, but I think there's good to be had within it.
Right.
Well, it's a
I'll say-
Tarantino script.
The sorts of people who loved that movie and also loved Scarface were generally not the sort of people I wanted to hang out with.
James?
I love Scarface, and I'm a big De Palma fan, and yet I could not warm up to Natural Born Killers.
Yeah, it was too heartless. It was too heartless. There's no one. There was no one.
But what if you are heartless?
And also in Scarface, there's no scene that's totally out of place where all of a sudden you see Scarface in like a TV sitcom. I mean,
see, I like that.
But that was
I like that.
I hated it. It wrecked that.
Yeah, that kind of experiment. Well, it wasn't an experimental film in that way, Larry. You're right. It was more.
But Phantom Menace was an experiment too. You know.
Well,
that's another story.
Why would that? What do you mean by that? What do you mean?
No. Just keep going, Sean.
No. You said it. It's out there now.
You come up with these off the wall references. I was just saying how Scarface was not an experimental film the way Natural Born Killers was.
Scarface wasn't an experimental film. It wasn't.
That's what I just said, Larry. So how does Phantom Menace fit into your philosophy?
How is that an experiment?
It was an experiment. It was an experiment
to see if Star Wars would work again. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. No. The truth of the matter is,
Star Wars would work again.
No, it was supposed to be an experiment in the whole digital technology world.
Yeah, I'm thinking more in like the style of the movie. Like you said, like you have a realistic scene, then you go to a sitcom, and then you do whatever. Scarface was simply, to me, just a blown up cartoon. It was just a violent cartoon. And that's why, it has amazing set pieces and visually it's stunning, but it's so over the top.
Could have been a half hour.
I just can't take it seriously. Maybe that's why people like it. I don't know, but it
goes on and on and on to get to that.
Yeah.
Pacino is, he can really eat up a movie. Did you ever see Cruisin'? Oh my God.
No.
I haven't seen it in so long, and I'm really curious to see that again now. That was Friedkin's like horror film in the homosexual community, basically.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, wasn't it more sort of in the S&M community?
It was, the leather.
No.
The gay S&M
the leather, like Village.
Well, yes, that would be part of the S&M.
That's S&M, Larry.
You know what S&M means?
Oh, thanks, guys. I'm sorry, I didn't know. Thanks for straightening me out. I appreciate that.
I think at the time,
that's what's great about Monster Party. When you don't know, people set you straight.
Yeah. It doesn't stand for sandwiches and marmalade.
Yeah, when you protest and say no, it's not. That's when we come in. Yeah.
At that point in our American history, though, people considered gay men to be the guys who wore the leather chaps. It was all like Thomas Finley.
Right.
They didn't know there are many flavors of humanity.
I found it offensive that they didn't include me.
Were you born yet? They did not know it was coming, Matt.
Yeah, and that movie was critically lambasted and did not do well either, right? At the time.
Hilarious. Right. I mean, there's a scene in there that I think they're questioning somebody in a police box. And just for no reason, I think it's a cop who's totally in the leather daddy gear, just smacks the hell out of the person there. It's just out of nowhere. Literally, they haven't even asked a question.
Right.
Well, I guess they're expecting that or something because they're leather.
I don't understand.
And that was Friedkin?
Yeah. That's what's interesting too, is when you get these movies that are by big directors who have a lot of clout and a lot of leeway and power to do whatever they want. And sometimes that goes off the rails.
Like Dune.
Yeah.
Dune?
David Lynch's Dune? That's where we have to disagree.
That's where we disagree.
That's a great example of a movie that I appreciate much more now than when it came out at the time.
Yes.
Did you
read
the book?
The thoughts out loud?
Sure, that was.
I like that.
Not saying it was a perfect movie, but
has its flaws.
The movie is so unique and so different and so singular in its approach and vision that now, looking at now, especially when it was made, I find it fascinating. I find myself going back to it.
Me too. Me too, Sean.
And I wouldn't do that if there's not something in there, that movie that I like. I like it more and more.
It's beautiful. It looks gorgeous.
looking so forward to that film. And I mean, I'd read the book. I was all ready.
All
and then I saw
and that's how many people reacted. I know.
No.
I get it though. I get it.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, in fairness to Tammy, what she's saying is similar to whatever a lot of people said. If you read the book, there are people who, and it's like, what movie like Ben-Hur or Lawrence of Arabia or like with The Shining, something that you're taking the book and you can never make everybody happy. Harry Potter, even, it's like, it's so hard to put everything that makes it so special and unique into a movie. Now, Tammy, I had never read the book. So when I saw the movie, to me, it was all new. And
I have preferred that.
And I knew David Lynch was a weird guy, and I loved all the funky, weird things. And to me, it was just, it was, all things seemed like a fever dream. I loved it. And I know how people criticize the ending. To me, I didn't know any better. I didn't know.
I had a problem with the ending. Yes.
I did. But Matt, see, I
had read the book.
I hadn't read the book. So to me, it was just visually beautiful. And I never understood why did David Lynch take his name off? And I understand now there's a whole reason. I mean, he actually wanted to make it into 2 films. There was all this other stuff. And they're all, no.
Plus, Larry, this was a time where this was post original Star Wars. And many people, when Star Wars came out, said, wow, a lot of Star Wars was influenced by the Dune book. So people were I think they're just expecting something as spectacular and maybe somehow along the lines of Star Wars, which obviously it wasn't,
No.
And not to go over this again, but Matt and I have the same conversation all the time about the black hole.
Right? Yes.
So the black hole, when it came out, again, critically and box office wise, failure, but that is a movie I keep going back to all the time, and I like it more and more. I find it visually so amazing, and we have the toy robots.
Soundtrack is
John Barry,
beautiful.
Yeah. So it's like that, but that movie was considered
so creepy.
In a way, now it's been reassessed. But
I did not like it when it first came out,
and it is a flawed movie. Still,
I didn't like it when it first came out either.
Yeah,
but I was young and I just didn't like things that made me feel bad.
Right.
It was but Tammy, it was the ending that got you, wasn't it? Wasn't it the ending that really got you?
The ending is terrifying. The ending is one of the most disturbing endings to any movie.
Interesting.
I mean, I find it weird and psychedelic. To me, it was like them doing the 2001 kind of ending, just like make it weird and bizarre and freaky and but
stuck inside the rope.
Well, yeah, that was.
Well, if that's
Tammy, do you know that the action figures that they came out with recently, you get a separate Maximilian head when you get Maximilian with his face in it.
With the eyes.
Yes.
Pretty awesome.
I'm sorry, Larry. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Tammy just brought up this thing. To me, it's more than just, he's inside the robot. How terrifying. Yeah, Tammy, that is terrifying. It's not he's in the robot.
Simplified my thought that he was in the robot.
It's where the robot is. It makes no sense. It was stupid. As a kid, I'm all, this is stupid. And I still say that to this day. And yes, people are going, oh, look at Vincent, his big eyes. Oh, they're trying to make him, have more of a personality.
Ridiculous, yeah.
Look, there are elements of it that I love. And yes, it's beautiful. The black hole looks gorgeous. The music is great. Tammy, it kind of had me all the way through. It's just when we got to that ending, and also I'm one of these guys who, I like an ending that has an ending.
Does he? Everybody has to be married, and
or a little
thing happens after
tied up in a little ribbon.
Or where's the guy that has the explanation? What happened? Well, don't you realize what happened is blah, 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 blah.
He loves that.
We know, we have an explanation. And I hate this all, supernatural.
Ambiguity, shades of gray, forget it with Larry.
Don't you feel like it didn't fit? It didn't fit with the film, the way the film was.
It needed to be creepier. It needed to be weirder.
It was a weird ending. Yeah, it was a weird ending that you certainly did not expect in a Disney film in 1980.
It would have benefited if Maximilian said when he's going through the black hole, Dr. Reinhardt, I want you inside me. Like that would have, I think that would have tied it into a knot.
I want you inside my black hole.
He literally,
you're in my black hole. I want you inside me.
Oh no!
There you go.
No.
But look.
It's on Tammy, the children's record book.
Tammy, it's one of those things where I like the film. I appreciate it's just it just irks me every time about that ending. That's what
I agree. Thinking for yourself really sucks. I'm joking. It is a weird ending.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It is a weird.
Larry just got it.
Like Sean, I had the little figures too. I had the model hanging up.
The robots are cute, and yet there's this robot hell at the end.
For sure.
Is there any movie besides Marty that Ernest Borgnine survives?
Yeah, really.
The other day.
He kind of dies in almost every. Actually, he lives in at the end of The Devil's Reign because he's kind of the devil. So he lives.
Well, yeah. So he's got that.
Corbis.
He's got that going.
Okay.
At the very end, he's back. So
the devil.
He
doesn't die in Bad Day at Black Rock. He just gets his ass kicked.
Beat up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right.
By
a one-armed man.
Still one of the greatest movies ever.
Yeah.
You ever seen that, Tammy?
I have not, or if I have, I've forgotten all about it.
Spencer Tracy, Robert Ryan, Ernest Borgnine. I'm telling you, it's an all-star cast.
I'll see anything Ernest Borgnine is in.
You'll love it.
Yeah,
You'll love it. And he's so scary in this. Lee Marvin, also terrifying.
Did you see, again, going off on a tangent, Face in the Crowd?
Oh my God, one of my favorite movies of all time. I have a lot of that. I love that.
And it's just like, wow, the sheriff is sexy.
And Tammy just brought something. What you just brought about Face in the Crowd, in a way, it's also a bit of a horror film.
Oh yeah!
Oh my God! Yes.
And I know what's happening. Listeners are going, what is this? This Face in the Crowd? It is so timely. I think
Andy Griffith.
Andy Griffith.
It's like down home, kind of nice guy.
But
people.
You've never seen him like this before. How he's manipulating people into the thousands, into the millions of people, and he is really a horrible person. But he also has these really serious well, I don't want to say psychological.
Oh, he's a man of many desires.
Yeah.
And,
there's that moment where
he's a con man at his base.
He's a con man, and he is total id to everyone else.
Yeah.
And for listeners, if you're thinking, well, what are you talking about? I would suggest it's a black and white film. It has Patricia Neal, who you may remember from The Day There Stood Still, who's absolutely amazing. It's a different type of a horror film, but where power, money,
Elia Kazan,
where all this goes to, it's really intense. And at the end of the film, you think to yourself, wow, this mirrors society as some things in society now.
Still
maybe
relevant.
Not. Yes, Matt.
To say the least.
More relevant than ever, I would say.
And so look, this film, A Face in the Crowd, it's not The Shining. It's a different kind
of horror.
But it's a great film.
Andy Griffith is terrifying because what he does with this role is he is able to take this charm, this down home kind of the Andy Griffith from Mayberry kind of charm, and then thread this villain, this vile villain who's just, all he wants is power, and he doesn't even realize in the beginning of the movie that that's what he wants. But the minute he realizes that people are affected by the things that he says, oh my God, it's Pandora's box open. And
that movie is a perfect double feature with Prey for the Wildcats. Have you ever seen that, Tammy?
Yes,
I have not.
That's a 70s TV movie with Andy Griffith as
also scary.
Ad agency guy who brings together all his coworkers who work under him to go on a dirt bike riding trip, and he's all super manipulative and things go bad. And the cast for that, you got Andy Griffith, Robert Reed, William Shatner, Marjoe Gortner, Angie Dickinson. Incredible.
Well,
so he was in everything in that era.
Yeah. That's a great one too.
one.
But yeah, Andy Griffith can be a great bad.
I was
when he wants to.
I was shocked at how good an actor he was, and it's just Matlock. No.
Hey, James.
I was about to say, I want to know what James has to say about this.
James, give us a movie.
Yeah.
All right. Here's one that Time, I think, has been relatively kind to, because there were certain expectations when this came out, because it was in 1985, and this was Stephen King, back to Stephen King, his directorial debut, based on one of his short stories called Trucks, right?
Maximum Overdrive. Right.
Maximum Overdrive, another De Laurentiis project who'd done Dune. And terrible. It's a terrible movie. And looking back, it's sort of like, well, didn't King even care to make a good movie? It's like, well, no, he wanted to make a fun movie. And it is kind of fun. It's a bad, fun movie, I think.
Right. Yeah.
Also, at that point in his career, I mean, he was very prolific, Stephen King, but I think there was also some cocaine.
Yes.
That's what I think he
quite a bit of it. I hear.
That I think that he's throughout the whole entire shooting of that movie.
Of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he remembers making that movie. I think I heard he didn't remember writing Christine, one of his big ones.
Yeah.
Must be great. So I wonder if he remade that, if it would be a little different.
Well, and the thing is, it was remade as a TV movie, wasn't it called Trucks, like for Showtime or something? I never saw that.
Timothy Busfield.
Was that any good? Was it closer to the story?
It was closer to the story. Like Mick Garris's The Shining was closer to the story, but it wasn't as much fun.
That's true. Yeah. I would agree with that.
Right.
If you read Danse Macabre, the King book, he has a different view of movies than he does literature. He looks at them as like, popcorn, not as seriously. So that was his approach to the movie. But, if you're a fan of King, and back then, there were like 10 King adaptations every year. And if you read the original story, Trucks, I mean, that's a pretty powerful short story. And I was disappointed that it wasn't taken more seriously at the time. As soon as you got the Green Goblin on the front of the truck, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And AC/DC.
Right.
Yeah. You're right. He made it like as a party movie for guys, for a bunch of people just want to sit around drinking beer and just like watching the stupid, gory, violent explosions. I mean, that's kind of what it was.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. And to this day, I can't go to a gas station and pump gas without thinking of that scene where the gas pump shoots gas into the guy's eyes.
Well, wait a minute, Tammy, you have to understand something too with James. James has an eye thing.
Yeah.
Any movie where anything happens,
violence towards the eye. Yeah.
Right.
I'm with you. I mean, Blade Runner it has flaws, but it is still like my favorite film. I'll watch it every time.
Me too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, when I saw it, I had some problem with some of those scenes.
Yeah.
You Nexus 6, I make your eyes, and I had to.
Well, then plus what Batty does to the founder there.
Yes.
Yeah. To Tyrell. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. There's some eye stuff.
A lot of eye stuff.
Yeah.
Sure.
There's a certain type of eye thing that James hates. Like, have you ever seen the movie Zombie? Zombie's an Italian. It's supposed to be like a loose.
I've heard of it.
Dawn of the Dead.
No,
there's an eye scene which is legendary.
Yeah.
And I think is brilliant, by the way.
It's unbearable.
Yeah, me too.
It's absolutely unbearable to watch.
Because it's slow.
I have it on loop. I just watch it over and over again.
I know. It's like, some people put an inspirational tape or what I do is like I play that to go to sleep.
Right.
So to get back to the kind of MST movies that I'm sure you've seen quite a few of, there's one that is actually one of my favorite MST from, the old days, one of my favorite episodes of theirs. But I also like this movie. And the movie is The Giant Leeches.
Oh, yeah. I like that one.
I am so embarrassed to say I have not seen that one. I'm so embarrassed.
That's okay, because it's a strange movie. It's 1959. It was produced by Gene Corman, who I guess is Robert Corman's brother.
It must be.
What's weird about this movie is that the backdrop of what happens is that this little small town, there's this guy he's not the most handsome guy in the town, but he has this ridiculously hot wife who's always cheating on him. So you got like this little Tennessee Williams weird thing happening in the background. And then giant leeches show up. And they are giant leeches. And this is another thing that I would defend this movie for, is that the giant leech costumes, I think, are pretty good. When you're thinking, what would a giant leech look like? That's sort of humanized, and it would be what they came up with. And Sean, I think you'd agree too, that there are some genuinely creepy, scary scenes.
Yeah, well, they're like these leeches people say, "Oh, it's like a black plastic garbage bag."
It's not that though.
It's a little more than that.
It's more than that. It looks good.
Yeah, and they have these big suckers, and they just are sucking on like the necks of their victims in this cave, and the victims are kind of like half dead, and it is creepy. And it's, first of all, the idea of an oversized leech, like in a swamp or whatever, is a great idea. Yeah. And it has atmosphere. It is kind of creepy. It's one of those movies that, yeah, you could easily dismiss it as a very low budget schlocky horror film, which it is, but that doesn't mean it's not effective and entertaining.
I saw this as a kid, and I've seen it since then. And I think that there are scenes in there that are genuinely scary. There's a scene where, so the guy with the hot wife, his wife is Yvette Vickers, who's lovely.
She was a playmate at the time.
And so he catches her with her lover and forces them into the swamp at gunpoint. And so they're backing up slowly into the swamp. And, both of them are saying, "Oh, please don't kill me." And she's going, "Oh, honey, I love you." And all. And as they get farther into the swamp, that's when the leeches come. Oh. And so they attack, and then he's watching this. And so he doesn't know what to do. And if I remember correctly, I think he fires, but so they get brought down into this underwater cave that Sean was talking about. And every once in a while, they'll cut back to the cave. These people are they're weakened because, well, kind of.
Yeah, but they're like slowly being fed on. They're like food for the leeches every once in a while throughout the day and night just to go back to.
So it's slow. It's slow. It's not like they just kill them. They go back and every once in a while take a little drink.
Portion control is great.
Right.
One thing I have not managed to work out.
Me neither. I really admire those leeches.
Yeah. And every time you see these people in the cave and they're struggling to lift their heads, but they can't because they've had this blood sucked out of them, and then the leeches come and just the story, this little tawdry story that's happening in the town. I like that too. So I think that's one that deserves more respect than it gets.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space, just to jump in there, because that reminds me. Killer Clowns from Outer Space, I saw in the theater the day it was in the theater.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
And immediately it was in there for like 48 hours, and then they just abort. And I saw it again recently. I mean, I loved it then. I saw it again recently.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, me too.
There are some really clever, brilliant
things
in it. And I mean, those guys have gone on to do some other
the Kyoto Brothers. Yeah. It's a hard move. It's a hard movie to categorize because it's obviously parody, but it's on a weird level because it's kind of in its own universe, but yeah, I appreciate it. There's no other movie like that film.
No, I'd never seen anything like that.
Right.
The effects are amazing. They are
really fun.
So inventive.
Really fun.
And then you've got a breakout role from Chris Titus.
Yeah. That's what put him on the map.
Yeah.
He says,
"Yeah,
cops." That's his only line.
Yeah. Well, I would say another film along the lines of the giant leeches, which Matt, I know you agree with me on. Larry does not, and that's a film that in Japan was released in the 60s as Matango. In America, it was released as Attack of the Mushroom People.
Yeah,
I mean, of course, with a title called Attack of the Mushroom People, you're setting yourself up for ridicule. It was directed by Ishiro Honda, who directed the original Godzilla films, as well as many other great Toho kaiju films. E.G. Tsuburaya did the effects, like many of the other films in the Godzilla franchise. And it's this great atmospheric, moody film about these shipwreck survivors who end up on this island, and they're running out of food. And the whole island is in this super dense tropical swamp, and there's these bizarre mushrooms growing on the island. But there's also some strange creatures lurking around.
We don't know really what they are or what the story is behind them. But that's another movie, by the way, Sean, where the lead up to the Mushroom People, again, it's like the sort of Tennessee Williams. I mean, everybody is
characters going crazy.
Else.
They're going stir crazy. They're fighting amongst themselves. They find another old shipwreck along the coast of the island where they stay at, and that ship is like covered in mold and fungus everywhere, and they're starting to all just go crazy. And they decide, okay, we have to eat something. Let's eat these mushrooms because it's the only thing on the island that's apparently edible. And that's when things starts getting weird. They start to transform and lose their humanity, basically. And it's great. And it's super creepy. Yeah, when you saw it as a little kid, in the 70s on your black and white TV set, it's one thing. But now you can get it, an HD Blu-ray of it. And it looks amazing. It's beautifully shot,
Makeup
really
is
well
great.
acted. Everything about it is great. And yes, there's giant mushroom people walking around, but they
look good.
It's
They look creepy and weird.
that's a movie like everybody involved was at the top of their creative game, making a cool, completely different kind of cool little fantasy horror film. And it's great. But even back in the day, Bob Wilkins, famous horror host, made fun of it, says, don't watch this movie, turn the channel. Of course, but you could look at movies in two ways. You can just dismiss it as the silly, schlocky film, but look at, the talent and creativity that went into making this thing. It's a great little movie. I watched it many times.
What did the mushroom person say when everybody ran away from him?
What?
Yes.
Where's everybody going? I'm a fun guy.
Okay.
Okay, so that's our show.
Tammy, this is a thing that happens occasionally in the show.
Should have warned him.
But we love it.
If you're just tuning in, James Gonis just did what he always likes to do. Kind of, have a little fun.
I saw Bonnie and Clyde again. It holds up.
Huh? See? See, to us though, Tammy, his puns are like a warm cup of cocoa. They make us feel happy and secure that certain things in life aren't going to change.
All right, that's great. Okay,
but Matt, you agree with me and Matango, right?
Oh my God, yeah. From the very beginning of that movie. Wait a minute. From the very beginning of that movie, the first scene where you see the person who is narrating this story, and
it's like a flare, right? Because this movie's kind of like a flashback.
Yes,
right.
And he's in a hospital room, and the way that they lit the room,
it's all set. It looks
and then
great.
You've got like some neon coming
the background,
through.
Tokyo in the background. So great.
Good.
So great.
I'm telling you, as a kid, I loved this movie. Okay, yes, there's a scene where you get the final transition into the mushroom people, which I thought were cool. And I thought were well done, considering it's a nice trade-off between mushroom and horror. How to make that scary. It's a tough job. But there's an in-between stage when they're like starting to bubble up, and it's like before they're full mushroom.
Yeah.
And that is horrifying.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think it's one of my favorite Toho movies.
Yeah, me too.
One of your favorites.
One of my favorites, yes.
All right. Well, Sean, look, I'm going to go out on a limb here, okay? And for years, I've poked fun and said, Sean's a bunch of, you and your mushrooms.
You're always doing that.
But no, I'm not always doing it. I agree with you on a lot of things.
I'm just kidding.
But no, I know you're telling the truth here. But I'm going to say this, Sean. You brought up something very, very important. That was Bob Wilkins, the horror host that I grew up on. Yes, he did make fun of this film. And I remember watching it because I had to see what all the fuss was about. And there's that last line in the film. I got angry at it. I got upset, and I was like, this is a terrible film. And I'm wondering, maybe what I need to do is I need to have a cocktail, sit and just watch it. Maybe that's what I need to do.
But watch a good print of it. Watch a good HD version, widescreen. Yeah.
Sure.
Color, beautiful.
In fairness, because look, what I can remember of seeing the film, Sean, is it was very colorful. There were all kinds of colors
it's
and
really cool.
Psychedelic.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Perhaps I should try some shrooms when I'm watching this.
Sure,
maybe that'll help. Yeah,
well,
I know you would like that.
That movie.
Hey,
too.
we're all going to go to Sean's house and have a shroom or two, and then we're going to watch it. I don't know. See,
but
you mean cream of mushroom soup, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
which I love.
There should be a Matango brand soup.
The point I'm making, Sean, is I think we've talked about this enough where I think I need to give the mushroom people another chance.
Well, that movie, that film, remember, there was a film that came out in 1982 called It Came from Hollywood.
Yes, I remember that.
Which was kind of like a pre-Mystery Science Theater thing in a way. It was Dan Aykroyd, John Candy, Cheech and Chong, Gilda Radner. They all were like, they would show clips of these films and make fun of them and have little skits in between.
Yeah.
And that was one of the films. And this was at a time, remember, this is like, I think, the whole bad movie culture, which in a way kind of started with the Medved brothers, Harry and Michael Medved, when they wrote those 3 books, 50 Worst Films of All Time, Golden Turkey Awards, and the Hollywood Hall of Shame. And they would have these very sarcastic little reviews of movies that were they considered bad. And they would list them off. That was at a time when Plan 9 from Outer Space won like worst movie of all time. Yeah. And that became like that became the poster child though for bad movies. That started that whole trend kind of. It was hip to like make fun of bad movies. Thing is that you look at Plan 9 from Outer Space, that movie is so watchable. Never boring. And it's actually like, it's a very fun movie.
It is.
It's a very cool and unique premise. And it's done for like $10, done by a director who, while he may not have had a lot of filmmaking skills, he had more passion and drive and love for movies than 10 other filmmakers combined. Yeah. So that's the thing. It's like Ed Wood became, Ed Wood, the worst director of all time. No, he wasn't. And the thing is, it's really interesting because then Tim Burton would make a whole movie about him and about making Plan 9. But it's just funny how Plan 9 isn't, by regular movie making standards, is not a good movie, but it's a movie done by a passionate filmmaker who loved what he was doing, and everybody was trying.
That's the standard that I look at films, which is you have a director who is trying to do something. Did they accomplish what they were trying to do? Ed Wood was trying to entertain. And that's what you get. Even the lines that were, of course, unintentionally funny. But as you said, it's action-packed. It moves right along. And
some nifty costumes.
Some nice costumes, yes. And you have to give him credit for, hey, he put on a show. And he delivered. Exactly. He gave you what you wanted for that time in the theater.
Yeah, he took everything around him that he could for free to make it.
Yeah.
I mean, Leonard Glenda, which I would argue is his worst film.
Yes, I would agree. Right. I would agree.
Stock footage, and it's like the Indians would use the entire buffalo. He used absolutely everything.
That's right.
Around him, and he made whatever.
He was working it out.
He cobbled it together.
Yeah, it's really interesting to me because like nowadays, that's why. I can watch a quote bad movie or a low budget movie and be entertained by it and watch it over and over again, as opposed to some big soulless, empty. Yes. If I try to sit through Thor, Love and Thunder, which is like the money spent on that. Yes, and that movie exists because the agenda was simply to keep the brand alive, to feed the franchise, and to provide content for the MCU. That is it. There is not a single iota of genuine filmmaker's passion in that movie. Is let's just do this fucking thing and make tons of money and move on. It's such an empty feeling to watch something like that.
And yet the movie that most people say is their least favorite Thor movie is the one that I like.
The second one.
The Dark World.
Yeah, which I think is really good. Especially just now, there are so many movies that I just think are, you just go down the list. The second Wonder Woman movie, Black Adam, Morbius, the last couple Halloween films, Jurassic Park movies. I watched Plan 9 from Outer Space 10 more times before I sit through those again.
I would watch that Mushroom People thing 100 times before I'd watch the Entourage movie. Did Jeremy Piven have some blackmail on somebody? Who asked for that? And a small country could be fed, but no. Jeremy Piven and the gang we had to see Turtle one more time.
See, I'd rather go back to a movie called The Horror of Party Beach.
Sure. That's a fun one. That's a great one.
Listed as one of the worst movies of all time. Our local horror host, Larry and I, was Bob Wilkins. And Bob Wilkins, this was the first movie that he showed in the Bay Area. And I love this movie. And I think that it gets a bad rap because, yes, there's a lot of violence. The creatures are kind of silly. They look like they have hot dogs in their mouths. But it's gory in a really fun, creepy way.
Yeah. Kind of edgy a little bit at times. Yeah.
There's two different forms of the creature that attack people. which I think is unique.
The costume was lost, or
something like that. It was,
but it's like pre-Alien. Okay, here's a transitional stage of the monster, maybe. And on top of that, there's some great music. There's a band called the Del Airs.
Great surf music.
There's a bunch of these scenes that happen during like a surf party on the beach. And the Del Airs are great. And they have, I think, 3 or 4 songs. And once again, there's, a love triangle and all that kind of thing. But I remember seeing this and I thought that there were a lot of scenes. There's one scene in particular where the creatures attack a slumber party, a bunch of girls having a slumber party. And I would say that the mood of it feels a lot like, say, Night of the Living Dead. It's got the hard contrast with these creatures, and it benefits, of course, from that because it's in the dark. You can't really see them too well. So that's good. Right. It's way more fun than anybody gives it credit for, and I don't understand. Yeah. And I think people just get hooked up on the way the monsters look.
Right.
And then, it's violent. Once again, it's a horror movie.
Yes, there's a monster killing people.
Yes.
What about movies that everyone says are great but aren't?
Go, please.
There's those too.
My big one is The Birds.
Really?
I do. I mean, yes, it has some
moments,
Hitchcockian moments, but it's basically, a woman meets a lawyer and then she stalks him, even though it's like a meet cute, and then there are birds.
Yeah,
that's interesting because that movie we've discussed many times with different people. Like there's some that I think we had, I forget who the guest was talking about, how it's a lot of it is just about how people just can't communicate with each other and how this dysfunctional dynamic with the human characters.
I don't get it.
We have talked too though about how the movie is it has that artificial feel to it.
Yes.
A lot of special effects and sets.
It don't hold up really well.
Yeah.
Hard matte lines all over the place.
Yeah.
And sure, there's scenes where it's obvious, someone's throwing a bunch of birds at that person.
Right.
And but I will say though, and this is a movie that I've gone back and forth with over the years of my life, where it's certainly not my favorite Hitchcock movie.
No,
but there are some great moments, like Tippi Hedren caught in the phone booth.
Absolutely.
I think it works really well. And I love the ending as opposed to Larry. It's ambiguous. I love the fact.
Why are the birds this way? How do they get this way? We don't know. It's an unsatisfying ending. It's dumb.
I don't mind an ambiguous ending. I mind an ambiguous movie.
Well, I've heard it said too often that it's Hitchcock's masterpiece. It's not Hitchcock's masterpiece.
No.
Right.
Bro,
I agree with
that.
I see it. I see it all the time. I see it all the time.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
The trouble with Harry is obviously his masterpiece.
You know what that is?
That's a laugh riot.
It's someone who really doesn't know what they're talking about. It's like, well, yeah, he did a lot of films, and Birds is really famous. Way here, it's got to be. We're considered one of his greatest. No. It is a flawed film. Yes, Matt, I agree with Matt that it's got a lot of neat things in it. But when you get to that ending, it's like maddening. It's like, it just drives me nuts.
I love the ending because it was over.
Well, Tammy, you bring up a good point. You bring up a very good point. Yes, like, wow, finally out of that one now. But I guess, Tammy, I'm invested in it. I want to like it. I like when the birds attack the kids. And Matt, look, I don't care about the matte lines. I really don't. I
don't really either. I go with it.
Give me something that's satisfying.
Hey, so
give me something like the birds look, honey, the birds are dropping dead. Looks like that nuclear waste that they ate, is killing them now.
Really?
At least,
that's original.
This is his fix, by the way, Tammy.
No, Sean. I mean,
that would have made it much better.
See, even Tammy said so.
You can't see that I'm being sarcastic on a podcast.
Okay, so where does a movie like Birdemic fall then? Because that's become that along with something like The Room, those have become the new so bad they're good movies. But like, what do you think of those? Because they are. I mean, the Birdemic is truly atrocious. It's atrocious.
But it's one of a kind.
It's one of a kind.
If you can tell a story in a way that no one's ever told a story before, which is hard in film.
Yes.
And then kudos to you. And Birdemic told a story in a way I've never seen a story told before.
Yeah, no one has been bad in that way.
Okay, so
passion and absolutely no budget.
Yeah,
and a very unusual way to tell a story.
And a very, very naive filmmaker, I think, but still doing it, making it. He wasn't setting out to make a bad movie, you know. But then what about movies like Sharknado then? Because Sharknado, I know. See, the first one,
Forrest.
Yeah, it's like they made it, and obviously it was like wink, wink. You know, we're being stupid here, but the first ones took off enough that they built a whole franchise off of these like purposely bad movies, constantly winking at you and look at how bad we are. But it's hip to be terrible, like
you
that.
Can't manufacture that.
Yeah, it's like that to me. I don't. Same with like Snakes on a Plane, which was made, and then they added stuff, and they had what's his name say that one line, and like suddenly it's hip and cool. Like, but is it though? The thing is, like Snakes on a Plane, I saw that one time. I've never had this desire to go watch it again.
It's manufactured and it's very offensive.
You can't manufacture a bad movie. Like it's, you know.
Although James, I did see Cocaine Bear and it was better. It was way better than I thought it was going to be. Now, that doesn't mean.
Is it like what it looks like
to
me?
Problems.
Is it just a one joke movie though, with like a CGI bear?
There's a number of interesting characters. It's the type of movie where you go, this is a fun sketch that could be 5 minutes tops.
The 2-minute trailer was enough for me.
I would be lying if I said that I didn't enjoy it.
Okay. Well, I think we enjoyed it probably for some of the same reasons. It reminded me a little bit of like Zombievers or Tucker and Dale, even though Tucker and Dale is a better movie, but that's the feeling I got walking away from those.
There are some character beats that go on way too long where it's always interesting in a movie where they go, this is the funny part of this character.
Right.
So we're going to keep hitting that all the way. Like, well, it wasn't really funny the first time and it certainly isn't after the 10th callback, but okay.
And logic goes out the window, which usually bugs the shit out of me. But in this case, I just went with it and I enjoyed it enough. Yeah.
You know, again, better than I thought.
You know what I watched recently that I was kind of amazed how much I enjoyed? When Olivia Newton-John died, I watched Xanadu. I mean, I've seen that. Don't ask me why, but I saw that in a theater when
that is Gene Kelly's finest role.
I never saw it.
My wife and I like the crazy, weird musicals, and that's definitely up there. But then The Apple is one that we really enjoy. Have you seen that, Tammy?
No.
Oh my gosh, you have to see The Apple. You have not lived until you've seen The Apple. It's this. How do you explain? It's this bizarre science fiction, dream. Just see it. It's just insane.
John, if you can't explain it, nobody can.
One of her first roles, and it's basically a morality tale of like
good versus evil,
the devil. It's like it's insane.
It's a watchable Left Behind movie.
Yeah. It's bizarre songs.
Marty Croft-ish.
Not really, but it's indescribable. And that was a movie that just bombed when it came out. But now it's been shown at midnight screenings. But it's entertaining. It's super entertaining.
Now, there are bad films where you can laugh at them and say, I enjoyed that. But if I watched, say, The Apple by myself on a TV, the way, you know, if you watched The Room by yourself on a TV and that was your first intro to it, would it seem like, this is hilarious? Or just like,
it'd be better with a group.
You can say the same. You can say the same thing about like Rocky Horror Picture Show, though, too.
Well,
but that does have some real charm to it. But
yeah.
I would argue the songs are better in Rocky Horror than they are in The Apple.
Yeah,
I still like a lot of.
But The Apple is so unusual.
Yeah, I think you might enjoy that. I think by yourself or with a group.
No, Tammy, get some friends.
Get some
invite
friends.
Invite a few friends from your MST 3000 group. You know, hey,
we do not want to watch bad movies for a living.
Well,
I like to watch.
We'll come over.
Please. So The Apple it's a 1980 film, but it takes place in the future.
In the future, yes.
Yes. When music rules, and it's like, it's crazy. That's worth
I
checking
love
out.
it. It's like it's only 14 years ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, you know what? A movie that I was thinking of that would be a good double feature, the second feature for Attack of the Mushroom People or Matango, is The Lost Continent.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Hammer one.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. And kind of the setting is a little bit the same. Kind of the atmosphere is the same. Yeah, that's a great one that has this ship gets stuck in the Sargasso Sea, and there's these weird like descendants of conquistadors living on this ship, and there's like killer seaweed and giant monsters. It's crazy. It's great.
Yeah, and it's the longest buildup. It is quite the buildup of before you get to the island. You're getting all these nasty characters.
Yeah, soap opera kind of melodrama. Yeah, but
and then
great, though.
Then they hit the Lost Continent, and it reminded me so much of Matango. This strange island. There's a mist that's over everything, and then you see these people walking from a distance, and you find out later that they wear these strange balloons to kind of keep themselves lifted from this swampy
so they can kind of walk in the water.
That they can walk over, you know, and just all this
crazy.
Weird stuff.
Yeah.
And that's one that I'm sure a lot of people don't really like. It's but it's an odd film. Yeah, it's Dennis Wheatley.
Yeah.
Famous horror writer Dennis Wheatley, who did like The Devil Rides Out. And this is, I guess, his foray into sort of science fiction fantasy. I guess the original book was called Uncharted Seas.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Megaforce, 1982.
That's a great one. Yeah.
You get friends together, you have a few drinks. That is a guaranteed riot.
Tammy, that should be, you guys got to get that one from Mr. Science Theater. That would be
I would do that.
Oh,
I would go see that.
Yeah, that's a fun
hair.
one.
The best hair, man.
Yeah. That's
Have you seen this, Tammy?
Motorcycle.
I have not. You guys are really educating me today.
Yeah, it's like a disco sort of look mixed with like the Road Warrior.
It's Barry Bostwick, speaking of Rocky Horror, who leads this team of elite, fighters who drive in these souped up vehicles fighting evil. And it's like written by like a 10-year-old boy. and it's directed by Hal Needham, who at the time was very hot with Smokey and the Bandit movies and Hooper, all the Burt Reynolds films. But this film was 1980, I believe, and or 1982.
82.
Came out, and it was big build up for this movie, and it just came and tanked. It was
But did they have a bloopers reel at the end?
They should.
That would have been so
pretty much the entire movie.
The whole movie.
The entire movie's a blooper, though. Yeah, it's a kind of movie. It's kind of like the A-Team in the approach of like tons of shooting and explosions, but nobody actually dies. Because it's a PG movie.
No blood,
it's ridiculous. But
there was a great interview with Hal Needham when he made a big point out of saying he'll only make PG films. He'll never make an R because he wants everyone to be able to see his films. And I can respect that. He wasn't going to, have someone blow up and have his little body parts go all over the place.
No, it was done for the movie was made for 10-year-old boys.
And who amongst us has the little vehicles, huh? Come on.
Yes.
Actually,
where'd you get them from?
Right here. These are actual Megaforce vehicles. Gifted to me by a Monster Party listener, actually.
Who is?
Longtime Monster Party listener, Walt Keegan.
Walt. Oh, he's a good guy.
He is.
Sean, I like Megaforce, but I want to address the big elephant in the room here, and that's this whole MST 3000 thing. So look, I know, Tammy's a writer for this show. So she sees all these films and stuff. And, Tammy, I had a love-hate relationship with MST because sometimes I thought, yeah, these guys, all you writers, you're all very clever and, you always try to make fun of stuff. But some of these films that would be shown, I really liked and I cared a lot about. And then back in 1996, they were going to have their motion picture, the MST 3000 motion picture. I'm like, what are they going to do? And they choose This Island Earth.
Yes.
Now, this is a film that is so close to my heart. And I'm like, how dare you? How dare you make fun of one of my favorites? But I'll tell you, I went in the theater and I sat there and it was almost as if the people watching or the characters who were making jokes, they liked it too, because the stuff that they said would be stuff that when you're with your friends and stuff that you would say. It's kind of like if you were to watch Star Wars, people know the dialogue and then they'll say certain lines. There was like a kind of a real love affection with it. And some of the stuff that they said, I was laughing out loud. I nearly wet my pants several times. And it was kind of like, look, you can enjoy this just as much as if the funny comments aren't there. And I actually really enjoyed it. And I got the VHS at the time because I loved it so much. And then I got the Blu-ray. And in a way, some of the stuff they said, it was just so funny and wonderful. And that kind of changed my whole attitude about MST3000.
But I always felt that MST3000 was always kind of like that. Like, I mean, sure, some of the movies were genuinely bad, but I always felt that even the comments, it wasn't this giant shit on the movies. It was done with love, and it seemed like all the people involved here genuinely loved this genre stuff.
Yeah,
I always
got so easy to just say, well, that sucks. I mean, you can't
right.
Give it a little levity. And yeah, I mean, there are movie shows that it's kind of like MST, but a really bad version. It's like, I'd rather just watch the movie.
Right.
Right. I can watch a film both ways in a way. I mean, you're right. Like This Island Earth is a classic that I grew up with, and I love it. It's a great movie, but because it was made at a certain time and there's certain ways people behaved and acted and said things at the time. Yes, of course, some things are dated, but you can step out of that and watch it in that way too. And just, with kind of like the funny dialogue or whatever, it doesn't take away from my love of the movie though. I mean, as these guys know, I have a huge physical media collection of movies. I have thousands and thousands of genre films on DVD and Blu-ray. I would say 90% of every film ever riffed on Mystery Science Theater I own regularly on
me too.
DVD or Blu-ray. I mean, from Reptilicus to everything. I mean, so I movies that I've watched.
Don't get crazy now.
and like I loved growing up, but I can watch them both. I can watch it in the regular form it was meant to be seen, and I can also watch it being riffed by MST3K. Because also a lot of times these extra features, like on the Mystery Science Theater Blu-rays and DVDs, you have little featurettes. And, Frank Conniff or Tracy Ballou or Joel Hodgson would come on, and they're talking about these movies. They know their stuff.
Yeah, they like them too.
Like they know the history of these. Like they're fans of these things. Right. So it's not like they hate these movies.
I mean, Frank was the one who discovered Manos Hands of Fate.
Really? Yeah.
Not for Frank. Yeah, he's the one who brought that. So you can thank Frank for doing that. Now Frank's brilliant.
What a lovely man too.
Oh my God.
He's one of the nicest people I ever met in this town.
So smart, knows everything about music, and writes the perfect joke again and again.
Yeah, he's the greatest. He's the greatest.
The turn phrase.
Well, and also, isn't it true? I mean, come on. You can make fun of any movie. Any movie, the most brilliant, whatever, classic. You get a bunch of people together and you can poke fun at anything just because that's fun. Well, that's just a fun thing to do.
Which makes me think, okay, Tammy, am I looking forward to one day, like maybe next year or so, are we going to see MST3000 does Avatar? Hey, let's watch Avatar.
No, you don't have to worry about that, Larry.
Well, because they're not public domain.
Well,
for one.
That's one reason, yeah.
and
it's 7 hours long.
It's not 7 hours, Tammy. Why
you can watch 3 Matangos in the time it takes you to watch Avatar.
No, with MST, obviously we've got a time
clock.
Yeah, sure, of course.
But I mean, the show can only be so long. So every film you've ever seen on it, I think with the exception of like one, has been edited down. And of course the plot it's like, we don't need the plot to actually make sense. It's okay. Nobody's really paying attention.
Right.
Yeah, Avatar, 7-hour movie. It's about 80 minutes, 60 minutes. That would be better.
Can you imagine though? I think this would be a good show if it could be financially feasible, is to do one where it's big movies and big bad movies.
Oh,
I would love to see that.
Like
all those talented people, including you.
The John Travolta film.
Battlefield Earth.
Yeah, that's a good one. There you go.
That could be a
I mean,
That's
legitimate
got to be a
one. Yeah.
barrel of laughs.
Oh my God. Riff Tracks has done that. I don't know.
Oh,
Really?
maybe.
Okay, so you're not going to do Avatar, but I always get nervous. Like Sean and I have talked about how much we love The Brain That Wouldn't Die, and how some people look at it and go, "Oh, it's ridiculous." It's very scary, especially
movie.
when you get to that point, the thing in the closet, and
Yeah, it's a great
that
movie.
terrified me, and I took it very seriously.
How old were you when you first saw it?
Oh, maybe about 9 or 10.
Okay.
It infected you, as you were saying. It got inside you.
Trilogy
Yeah.
of Terror, when I first saw it, scared
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
I couldn't at that age when remember Magic that came out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Could not even watch the commercial when the commercial came out.
We've talked about that
A
before.
lot of
That's-
people feel
My
that
mom
way.
had to
Trailer.
run water, so I wouldn't hear it.
Mhm.
Wow.
And nothing
What is it?
much actually happens in Magic.
It's the
Abracadabra,
long
I sit on
Twilight
the
Zone.
sea.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
The
Yeah.
commercial was scarier than the movie.
The commercial
Oh,
was
yeah.
terrifying.
Well,
Here's a movie that everybody considers a terrible movie, and if you replace the monster, I would argue that it is not, and that is the giant claw.
Yes.
Because the giant claw, you have this ridiculous marionette vulture looking, looks like it's not too healthy.
Just look look for a photo of the giant.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just,
And
it's
I haven't
ridiculous.
seen it, but is it rigged?
Yes.
It's
yes.
like a puppet. It looks like a
marionette.
It's
Kukla, Fran, and Ollie.
Kukla,
thing.
Fran, and
Yeah.
Ollie, right? Exactly. I mean, it's from that world, and it's.
I was making
So-
a joke about those claw machines.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
oh, okay.
Sorry.
Right. Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going to shut up now.
But that movie, the funny thing and the tragic thing is that they all made this movie and nobody had seen any of the special effects.
Right. It's done like every other giant monster film of the 50s, where, like with the scientists and the military trying to destroy the monster, and that all works fine. It's just like your classic formula. But
Yeah.
then when you see the monster, it's like, wow.
And it's like you got Jeff Morrow, Mara Corday, and they're doing a fine job. And there's some interesting plot points because this isn't just a dinosaur that was awakened by atomic powder.
No, it's weird.
It's from a antimatter universe.
Yeah, it's like from outer space. There's a force field around it.
Yeah, it has an antimatter force field, and they have to figure out a way to knock out this force field and get to it. And so all of that stuff is, yes, Sean is right. It's standard 50s monster horror stuff, but it's enjoyable. If you replace that with a better, like a stop motion monster, everybody would love that movie.
Yeah, that's probably true. You're right. I agree.
With editing these days, you could just maybe one of your listeners has some animation skills.
Somebody might have done that. Yeah.
Plug in a better monster.
But I wouldn't
special
want
edition.
It can't be. It has to be practical, though. It can't be.
Yeah,
someone can't come in there with their CGI. It's got to be. Someone's got to either make a better marionette. Stop motion would be my first choice.
Yes. Tammy, have you ever seen Night of the Lepus?
Oh my!
With the rabbit.
Yes, the giant rat. So that's a movie that kind of like is pretty much almost mentioned in almost every episode of Monster Party because we have this weird attraction to this movie.
Well, some of
but
us
that's a weird example. But that's a weird example because that was released by MGM, like it had a decent budget with big stars, and it's kind of similar to the Giant Claw in that it has a particular
great cast,
nature run amok story. Very ecological horror from the 70s, perfect. But then you just have literally like cute little bunny rabbits running around a miniature set. I mean, it's just you can't get around it. And it's just
no matter how.
But everybody plays it straight. The movie is done straight. It's promoted as a scary horror film. But then you just see these big bunnies who aren't scary at all.
Yeah. And it's very I think it's very similar to the Giant Claw. And I think that they made this movie not realizing what the effects were going to be.
Yeah.
It turned out to be bunnies.
Yeah, I mean, Janet Leigh probably didn't expect to be in a giant bunny movie, but she is.
And I will say this, Tammy, if you see the preview, if you're in the movie theater, they show
Watch the trailer.
the trailer, you're like, oh my God, what is the Lepus? With these red and what Sean said, but you never see the bunnies in the trailer. It's always people looking horrified, shocked, beady eye, red eyes. And so you really don't know that there's constant, what is the Lepus? So you think you're going to see something cool, but it's really just these little bunnies. And when you see the film, it's like, they're just bunnies. It's almost like there's nothing you can do. Well, we'll do some lighting. We'll make them like drinking blood. It's berries.
They do a little blood.
There's nothing to me. There's nothing. It's one of those things where you feel like when you're in the theater and you're watching the film, you go, you got me. You fooled me.
Yeah.
But it is true. Yeah, but it is true that the actors got to give them credit. They're giving their all.
They are acting in what they think is like a scary horror film.
But Tammy, who doesn't love a cute little bunny? You know? and so it's like, that's what's so hard about this film. It's like, I want to see this scary thing. There's the cute little bunny.
Okay, but Jordan Peele made that. I've just forgotten the name of his.
Nope.
No, the one before it.
Us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He finds bunnies to be terrifying, and he put them in the film, and they were kind of terrifying. So maybe he needs to remake Night of Lepus.
Yeah,
I think he could make them truly terrifying.
Someone needs to do it.
Well,
somebody should remake Nope then.
Oh no!
I agree.
Come on, Sean. Oh, you guys, come on.
Okay,
I like that.
Nope is a 2.5-hour movie with 90 minutes of good stuff in it. Take out the entire fucking chimp story and the whole cowboy. Take all that out. Surgically remove that, and you have a good tight 90 minutes with a
90
UFO.
minutes. You're giving it 90 minutes. I give it a good 30.
Yeah, I mean, that's a perfect example.
It's an amazing stories episode.
Hugely successful filmmakers who are carte blanche to do whatever they want without any studio interference. No. That can sometimes backfire.
I like the creature. I love the creature is great.
Yeah, but just trying so hard, like hammering in this clunky message about taming the animal. Like, really? Like, just make a cool, scary, creepy UFO movie. That's all you have to do.
I bought it, Sean, and I loved the chimp thing. That was
really.
I want that to be a separate movie, though.
Exactly, separate movie.
I'm just saying, I didn't mind the whole cow. I thought it was so weird where it was going, and the chimp.
It wasn't going anywhere.
So cool.
That was the terrible.
Okay.
It's the whole thing about if he's trying to hit you over the head. Go.
No. Go ahead, Sean.
You guys go.
Tammy, go ahead.
Tammy, you go.
About Nope. I liked it.
Okay.
It was
right.
some visuals. Okay. Amazing visuals.
Yes.
I did like the chimp story.
I did too.
And
pretentious. Totally pretentious.
Okay, maybe a little bit. Yeah. I mean, Get Out is a great film.
Perfect.
And
absolutely. And that worked.
If I hadn't seen Get Out, Nope would be so amazing. But we're sort of used to when you're that great that fast, it's kind of hard.
Somebody need to rein him in a little bit.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Look, the Knack did a second album, and it wasn't Get the Knack. Okay, I think we can all agree.
There's Rock Around the Clock, the Bill Haley and his Comet.
Sure, yeah.
Very, very famous song. And there's a B-side, which is Rock, Rock, Rock and Roll. It's the same song, except the lyrics are rock, rock, rock and roll, but you could mash them up and they are the same song. You're just like, So
it's like the Ramones. You know what? You got a formula and it works. Go for it.
Well, the dad in that, I mean, he gets killed by a nickel?
Oh yeah.
Thing.
Oh yes.
I like the symbolism of like the nickels. Jefferson. It's a slave owner. And
yep, that was all great. That was all great.
It's like, hey, there's some great stuff in there.
Yes, I agree.
There is some great stuff. It's just that there are certain movies. Yes, there are certain movies where I suddenly notice that I'm watching a movie. All of a sudden, I get that feeling in my body. and I start to get uncomfortable. I get this thing like I want to jump out of my skin because everything is being either spoon-fed to me, as Sean was saying, with messages, or it's taking a million fucking years to get to the goddamn point.
A lot of movies are 3 hours now.
It takes forever.
Right.
And I would say Us is like that too. I mean, Us is another thing where I enjoyed visuals and performances, but that movie as a whole,
it didn't hold together.
No.
The concept of it is like you really have to buy into it because it's the most ridiculous. It is. But see, so is Get Out. Get Out is a brilliant movie, but if you step back and if somebody told you how that works, well, we take the brain and it's kind of ridiculous. It's like 50s sci-fi, but it works because he presents it well and he does it in a tight, interesting way, and he doesn't veer off from that one concept.
And everybody plays it straight.
Yes, absolutely.
And whereas with Us, I thought that you had so many over the top elements that you had to swallow, and that apparently there's this underground place where all these people are, and I kept thinking, who makes the beds here? When's where's the administrator? Like what?
Yeah, it's that kind of fantasy logic. Like I know it's a big thing to get past. I agree, but I just thought I guess it's some people love this movie. A lot of people love Us, and so I think it's one of those things where you either buy into this world or you don't. Yeah.
And I did not.
I did not either. It's hard to find gold scissors. That took me out of it. It's like, you can't find gold scissors. And now you're telling me everyone down there is gold scissors? Everyone? So it lost me at the scissors.
Right.
If you write an autobiography, I want it to be called that. It lost me at the scissors.
Well, we could go on and on.
Yes, we could.
I mean, the one thing I've learned from this is we could do this again, because I have a list that I mean we could bring this whole topic up again. I think
for sure,
because I have a list of a bunch of films that people thought were bad, but I think they're really good. But this was loads of fun.
It was.
Yeah, it was.
Yes. And Tammy, you had a great time. I had a wonderful time. Okay,
I want to join your gang, except I don't know anything about Mego toys and stuff.
Well, you know what?
that eliminates you right there. Sorry.
I know.
See, I would say, well, that's a perfect place to start.
Oh,
yeah, it's true.
We'll get you going.
True.
Yeah.
No, that's all right.
It's a sickness.
It is.
We're warning you.
It's for you. It's for you.
All right. I get it. Now, Tammy, do you have anything that you would like to plug?
Because
what's normally what happens
coming
around
up
this point?
Oh boy,
world.
Well, there is a writer's strike at the taping of this.
Yes.
Oh,
yes, that's right.
On, but find me at Tammy Golden on Twitter and watch me go slowly insane.
All right, that sounds good.
I'm going to pitch that show.
Please. It's been happening for 3 years.
Oh, don't get me started. This has been a rough month. My cat just died.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Sorry, Matt.
Yeah, I didn't tell you this. Yeah, Frankenstein.
Frankie.
My beloved cat. Yeah. He died.
Sorry.
Yeah, and we it was one of those things where it was happening to him slowly, and we did everything we could. We put as much money as we could afford to make his last months as, enjoyable as possible. But he was hiding under this armoire, and that was his new little home. And then he didn't come out anymore. And he was just like, you'd put him on your shoulder, and he was just like a rag doll. And you could tell that this was the end. So we gave him the magic cocktail. We had it done. And he went out very peacefully, but man, I love this cat.
Yeah, that's tough.
And I see him. It's like every time I turn a corner, I think I'm going to see him.
Yeah.
Oh, I am deeply sorry. There's nothing worse.
Yeah.
On that note.
Matt, I was going to say when I start getting like that and I start crawling under the armoire, I like you to take me out the same way. But of course, as I'm going, I can see it now. Sean's going to go, before Larry goes, let's put on Attack of the Mushroom People. So I'm
Yeah.
I mean, that's the last thing he's gonna say. I'm gonna go.
But
no,
you'll
Sean.
see it. But you'll see it in a new way as you go
Yes,
out.
As you'll be like Edward
be
G.
enlightened.
Robinson. You'll be like,
Yeah.
mushroom
In Soylent Green, yeah. Exactly.
Like
we
Soylent
should-
Green at the end,
exactly.
where he's
Right.
watching this pleasant movie,
Tammy,
classical music.
we talked about that. Now, okay, Tammy,
Yeah.
when you watched that film, did you ever think to yourself, okay, Edward G. Robinson's going to this special room, this classical music, the beautiful orange color, the beautiful classical music and the animals? Don't you think there's another room where they go, and what would you like? Oh, I just want horrors all over me. And I just, there's got to be a different room where it's like, you got rock music and, people gyrating all over the place. And you're like,
Gyrating.
So what you're
yes,
saying is
more.
you would have liked a movie of just the people who had chosen to die and their various idea of the way they'd like to be surrounded.
Go out. Yeah.
So just Soylent Green, just the dying
we-
place.
We talked about, like, if you had a job in the future, what would you do? And I thought I could be like the Dick Van Patten guy. I think I could do that. Be, helping people make their choices.
He'd be great. No, seriously.
I think
He would be great at that. I would like Larry to guide me out. I think he would be good. He'd be the calm one. But I think for me, instead of what Edward G. Robinson, Saul, was going through, what I would want is I'd want to be ushered into a room, given the same cocktails, but I don't want to be lying on a slab. I want to be with a bunch of other people that want to die. And we all get into this room and it's a mosh pit. We just
That'd be a good idea.
until we just
I like that.
Wow.
That's how I want to go.
Yeah, I think you should make that into a TV show.
All right, I will.
We're gonna call it Soylent Green the Day After or something or something like that.
The untold stories.
Soylent Green. It takes place in the death
In that
place.
universe,
That time,
right?
yes.
And it's like a workplace comedy. And
What? No,
Yes.
Tammy, this is no comedy. It's serious.
it's a workplace drama.
Yes. Like
It's kind of like
ER. Yeah.
ER meets The Office, and
Yeah.
our lovable staff has to deal with the last requests of these people, and hilarity ensues.
I like it. I like
It's
it
good.
a lot.
For sure.
So,
You're welcome.
Well, Tammy, it's been great having you with us.
Thank you. It's been
It's been awesome.
fun. Thank you so much for inviting me.
of course, and we would love to have you back if you want to do this again. So
Let's do it tomorrow.
All right. Okay.
We're set.
Okay. And
Awesome.
hey, everybody, why don't we lift our glasses and have a toast to Tammy Golden and bad movies that are actually good.
Yeah.
When do we
James?
start?
Time for a listener shout out.
Shout out.
A good shout out or a bad
Actually,
shout out. Oh, good.
I'm hoping for a good one.
Yeah.
Guys, we actually got a review.
Nice.
Hey.
It's been a while. This is very exciting.
It is.
This comes from I Am Not a Monster.
He should be, though. Monsters are fun. But I
Who
understand.
says the title is My Coworkers Are Complaining. And he or she says, I work at a tedious government job and listen to a lot of podcasts. One day I forgot my ear pods, and the guy in the office next to me, thin walls, like I said, a government job, came over to politely ask me to turn the volume down because the, quote, laughing is spoiling the work atmosphere. And I was like, whatever, Kevin. I love these guys. I think Larry is my spirit animal, sir. Well,
Nice.
thank you. I'm not a monster. We've had kind of a reviewed route, so thank you for ending that. We
Yeah,
appreciate
that's
that.
great.
That was awesome. I love it.
Yeah, and the fact that you're upsetting your work environment, you're welcome.
Thank
We're
you
so rocking.
much.
We're so rock and roll.
We are. Thank you, sir.
And one more time, let's thank the Rondo Awards and all the people who voted for us
Oh.
getting the
Yeah.
honored level of honorable mention.
Yes.
It means
Thank
the
you,
world to
everyone.
us.
Thank
Yeah.
you
It
so
does.
much.
It really does.
We're still riding on that high.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition we were up against.
There really is, Sean. There really is. And just, I mean, look, okay, so we didn't actually win, but getting an honorable mention is a big deal. So thank you to
And we've
everyone.
climbed a little bit.
Yeah,
So
we're getting closer.
we're getting closer. We're in that. We feel like we're in the zone.
One day, man.
It's gonna happen.
Nothing's gonna stop us. We're gonna keep going. I'm telling you.
Yeah. After that, Hollywood Walk of Fame.
That's right.
Of course, that's the Chinese Wok WOK restaurant in Hollywood. But
yeah, we'll be right in front of there.
And let's remind our listeners that Monster Party merch is still available on our eBay store, which is called, you guessed it, Monster Party Store. We have T-shirts. We have shot glasses.
That's right.
Yeah.
We have the legendary Monster Party cap.
Oh, the cap.
Everything you could need for a party.
Yes.
Yes,
A monster party, as we are named.
And if you order from our eBay
Oh, wait a
store
minute. You
and-
forgot something, James. Don't just.
PPE, the
Yes,
PPE
thank
cloth,
you. Maybe the most important piece, the PPE mask.
How could I forget?
You could protect yourselves from whatever is flying around out there, or you could use it for something else, right? Like sometimes what I do is I take the little stretchy parts that go over your ears and I hold them and then I just rest my elbow in the mask. And it's just I give my elbow a rest. See, there are so many things you can do.
It's true.
You could make a sling out of it, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
See?
A very specific small one, but very precise.
Well, if you are a Patreon member and you order merch from our Monster Party store, we will throw in free surprise goodies, courtesy of Jason Lindsay and Biff Bang Pow Toys and creature creator extraordinaire Ted Haynes.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Good
Ted
stuff.
Haynes. He's back. Back with a vengeance.
That's right.
He is.
Yay. So Patreon, what is this Patreon I keep hearing about?
Well, I think I remember sometime during the 1970s explaining this to you. It was a PowerPoint, one of the early PowerPoints.
Mansplained it, I think.
I did. Yes, I know. I have a way of doing that, but I know it involved an overhead projector and some microfiche. But in any case, Patreon is this platform that when you join it, you have access to bonus Monster Party material. So we're talking the special audio episodes. We're talking our shows that we do, like Larry's Toy Time and James's Toy Time and Monster Party Masterpieces. Oh, there's so much there to entertain and please. And we also have these story collections that my stepfather-in-law, John Bordeaux, has put together that feature vintage science fiction and horror stories. So there's that. And then we have our long-running Japan trip. We have a video diary that's, I think 108 chapters. And oh my goodness, there's so much fun to be had. It's like you're walking down the streets of Tokyo with us and getting the same bewildered stares that we got.
Well, it sounds amazing, but after this episode, I have a whole list of Blu-rays to buy now, so I don't think I can afford something like that.
Blu-rays of some of these movies. Wow, you live large. Well, I have to say that I think you're going to be okay because to become a Monster Party patron, all it takes is $5 a month. Yeah.
What?
$5 a month. I don't know. I don't even believe it. I said it and I don't believe it. I think I'm lying, but I'm not.
I don't believe it either. I mean, you can't get like a dog-eared lobby card of Night of the Lepus for $5 anymore.
You're paying way too much.
Yeah.
Well, that is the deal. So how does one join?
All you have to do is you go to patreon.com, you go to Monster Party, you click join, you follow the instructions. And next thing you know, you're going to feel like you're being licked by an 80-foot rabbit.
Well, of course, let's remind everyone that we are on social media. We're on Facebook at Monster Party TV, YouTube, Monster Party TV, Twitter at Monster Party HQ. Instagram is also Monster Party HQ. And whatever platform you're listening to us, follow the lead of I Am Not a Monster and send us a review. We would love to hear from you, and we will read it on the air.
Not only that, but we will take a recording of one of our shows and bring it to your work. Yeah. See if you get that promotion then. On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I am Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry STROTHE.
And I'm James GONIS.
Keep America strong.
And give bad movies another chance.
And as Megaforce's Ace Hunter would say, deeds, not words.
That's James.
Hello, James.
James
I'm
is who
turning on-
I thought would be the John if I wasn't the John.
Okay, but you're the Paul, so
Because
that's
he's serious. He's
No, I'm Ringo, for sure.
everyone wants to be Ringo,
I don't want to be Ringo, so that's good.
except
And
for Matt. So
Sean, who is Ringo, no, he's not. I don't know. I don't know who you are, Sean.
Sean is George, and Larry's Paul.
oh boy.
Oh, this is great. Hey, nice going, James. Yeah. I'm glad that we're doing this from your abyss tank that you normally shoot from. This is going so well.
Oh, well, now
Hey,
oh, no, that's James. James is frozen.
James is fucking up everything. Could you do this from a different house?
Okay.
Preferably yours.
I have a Wi-Fi outage I'm dealing with right now, so I apologize.
Of course, always.
Of course.
You
I
should
don't
have
know what-
scheduled that
We
for a
can add
different
you in
time to have the
post.
outage.
Yeah, we could just add you in post if you just want to
Yeah.
come up with
It would-
some
it would be-
zingers after
it would-
the fact.
It would be for the best, really, if we could script out some things for you to say. And then you just go back to your life in Palm Springs.
Are you in
Planning
Palm
yourself. Yeah, he lives in Palm Springs. That's why we can't
Wow.
have a show anymore, because all of a sudden he decided, by the way, without telling us, like a month later after he had fully moved in, broken ground, done, everything, he goes, oh, by the way, I now live in Palm Springs. He used to live in Santa Monica, which is almost like Palm Springs, but
Oh yeah, I'd much rather go to Palm Springs and Santa Monica
I think I'm with you.
anytime.
Yeah. But yeah, he dropped that on us, and we used to get together and do the show, and now he has to come in later.
Good drive, but how is it? Am I breaking up a lot? How is this?
You are kind of breaking up. You might want to, if there's
Now
any
you seem to be okay, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
seems good now.
sporadic. Say
I'm
some
sorry
more
about-
things.
I
Say
don't
some
know-
more
I
of your
don't-
bullshit.
I've done a reset with the modem router and all that good stuff. I don't know what the issue is. This is really frustrating, but
Use the fax machine. That'll help.
You sound good
Get
so
it
far.
going.
Yes.
okay. Well, if I'm okay right now,
Well, you're not okay right now.
No.
Now
You're going like,
you're falling
eh,
apart.
blah, 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 blah,
You want to turn it off and turn it back on again. You want to log off and log
Oh,
back
God
on.
bless you, Tammy
Do the
Golden.
IT crowd.
Turn it off and turn it back on.
But seriously, if you,
yeah,
It's a good,
I
it's a
mean,
good
it's
idea.
gonna be
I'll
kicked off. Maybe all of us should do it. I don't know. I'm not your.
Oh, you guys
I'm
are
great.
I'm the one-
We all
Personally,
sound good. The
I
rest
feel
of
great. So
Sorry
yes,
about this.
But hello,
Right,
Tammy.
instead
By
of-
the way.
Hello,
That-
Sean.
that's
Nice to
Sean.
meet you.
Tammy's a lovely person who I've known for years, and
Awesome.
she has so graciously decided to volunteer her time. And then I just noticed the lovely Godzilla print behind you.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
think is very nice.
Yeah, I'm far away. I've got the Polish Godzilla.
That's the
print.
Polish poster. Yeah, that's a great. I
Nice,
love that.
very
My
nice.
holy grail would be the original. Obviously, that's just a
That's
print,
cool.
but I saw that and just fell in love with it. And I'll be looking for the actual one, which probably isn't as good for the rest of my life.
But you need something
Have
to.
you ever seen
Yeah, that's
the,
really cool.
the Smog Monster Polish poster?
Yes.
That one's really weird, right?
Yeah, because it has like the
Polish
smog
posters
monster's
are
eyes within his
within.
body. It's
Polish.
That's fucked.
vintage
Oh, there we go.
posters.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there it is.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
pretty cool. That's pretty awesome.
that's really cool.
Yeah. So he's
Polish
like he's
vintage
become part of
posters
Godzilla.
and Mexican vintage posters are
Oh yeah.
posters.
Oh, you should see. I got a number of Mexican lobby cards of various things that
Oh, cool.
are so spectacularly over the top. Everyone is this garish painting. that-
Yeah.
like I thought some of our artwork could be, a bit bombastic, but these things, oh my God.
Yeah.
They had to get your attention.
People
I mean,
in
nothing as
seats.
good as the African movie posters.
Oh, yes, right. Well, Sean and I,
crazy.
we went to a Nigerian, wasn't it Nigerian?
It was Ghana, I think.
Ghana. Okay.
Yeah.
Ghana, yeah.
It was like a showcase of like all these where they would like paint on burlap sacks the posters for the movies that they were showing, like in this little outdoor.
That's awesome.
Like setting in Ghana, like Terminator. They would like combine, just
a knife in somebody's head and a snake. Like that has nothing to do with Terminator.
And it's love story.
Yeah.
They go in without knowing anything about the movie, and
we think it's about this. We have decided it's this. And then you see the theater. Well, we saw these pictures they had of the theater, and the theater is a VCR and a moderate screen
and like some
50
folding chairs.
50 folding chairs. Yeah. That's amazing.
The fact that they have 40 or 50 folding chairs, I mean, that's great. That means they get the big audiences. Like
probably the whole town.
Awesome. Yeah. Right. All right. What else you got to do? Yeah.
I would love to see a movie in Ghana.
Let's go.
And James, by the way, you were frozen in a grimace for a second there.
Yeah, it wasn't a.
It was very bizarre.
It was a smile, but it was it caught you on a smile that was so unlike you. It was so against who you are in your soul. It was pure joy.
Okay. This
You're
is
still doing your thing.
Well, now it's looking like Blair Witch.
No. My laptop says connected, so I'm going to switch to my laptop from my phone. So give me a second.
Okay.
But you're on your phone.
I am now.
And we will never hear from James again. But anybody.
And so
Tammy, welcome to. You're now the fourth member of Monster Party.
Because Larry doesn't seem to want to show up either. Does anybody know about Larry? Like, where is he?
He just emailed us a second ago saying he'll be about 15 minutes late.
Okay.
So he said to just get organized and even start if we have to.
Get organized.
Yeah, so we can.
So that was his
start getting organized.
Hey guys, get organized. I can't be there, so you're gonna have to take all the responsibility of. Wow, unbelievable! The fucking power trip that guy's on.
Can we swear on this podcast?
Oh yes.
Okay.
It's
a strange question to ask, but you never.
No, that's a good question.
No, that's
Kids
true.
love monsters, and
Yeah, it's just natural. It's as if we were all literally getting together and hanging out and talking about movies.
Okay.
Larry was not chimed in yet. Larry would love this show to be for like 3 to 4 year olds,
but it's not going to be.
But it's not going to be, and it never has been. And but yet he keeps trying. You say something about, there was a porn film. He's like,
well, it's more like if we just make up something. He's a stickler for like.
Well, there's that too.
That didn't really. He's extremely literal. So
he's extremely literal. Like if you say something that is sarcasm, he will have to go, okay, everybody, that's not real. That doesn't
so is
really.
Larry AI? Does he not understand?
AI has a better understanding.
Have you ever actually met him in person? Sure.
We have. Yes.
Look at all my fingers.
Yes. He wrote me very quickly. He wrote me an essay, and it was excellent. So we lost Jay. Wow, this is going great. We're down to 3.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm good. I'm good. Don't let the others back in.
All right. Well, we'll give this a little bit and see when these guys can get here. But this is good because we always like to throw a little bit of banter.
Yeah.
Yes. As we were talking about, this whole topic is going to be about bad movies that are maybe actually good in our opinion. And so I'm sure that aside from MST, you've watched a lot of these. You're a big science fiction nerd like the rest of us, right?
Yeah.
So there's got to be so much, because there's a bunch of movies, like we talk a lot about Zardoz.
Oh my God.
And so a lot of people hate that movie, and I love it. I think it's actually quite smart and beautiful to look at, well directed, unique story.
My
hate it.
jaw was open. I will admit, I only saw Zardoz for the first time about 5 years ago. I've been looking for it. It wasn't really available, and it was never playing anywhere and wasn't on any streaming. So I finally saw it, and I it was not what I thought it would be.
So what was the first thing?
What I was expecting for all these years?
The penis is evil. That's when you know, like, okay, all right. Bunch of guys in underwear with
from the very first
guns.
The very first frame, you know that this is not going to be an easy ride.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's definitely a kind of movie that you could never, that just would never be made today. It's just
Deeply
not.
Oh no,
experimental, but it's just
it's
obtuse and weird and
you couldn't. It's not the type of movie that you'd go like, you know what movie you'd love.
No, I mean,
it's for the more adventurous cinephiles.
Yes.
I think
the ship, the head floating will never stop haunting me the rest of my life.
Tammy, you mean this head?
Ah!
But yeah, so yeah, I'm a huge fan of that movie.
I love it, and I think it's, as you know, it starts off weird and gets weirder.
Yeah.
And then goes to a place where you have to maybe watch it again to catch all the, you know, what's happening in the tabernacle and all this kind of, you know, and then
I might watch it again.
It's great. It's beautiful to look at.
I saw it for the first time, and unfortunately I saw it on TV and not in a theater where it really would have just
right
broken my mind. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. So I lost great swaths of whatever the plot was and who
I get it.
I mean, it was a big risk for Sean Connery.
Definitely. It was his trying to break out of the, you know,
because he had to.
Right.
He had to, and
it didn't hurt him.
No.
At the time, though, I mean, yes, in the great long run, of course, it didn't hurt him. He's Sean Connery, but
I think people just went, "Oh, okay, there was that movie," and then just moved on. You know,
they forgave him.
Yeah. James, say something.
Hello. Sorry about this, guys. This has not happened before. Maybe I just will chime in occasionally.
Why don't we explain when we get the thing going?
Okay.
What's happening, and then the people will know, because we can't do this all night.
James, Tammy
and I have to create some cosplay, for Zardoz, because Comic-Con is coming up, and I need to get into my Zardoz weight. You know what I mean? Like,
are you very hairy?
Little on the cusp. I'm not.
You're gonna have to add some.
I'm not shoulders. I'm not that bad. I'd like to be.
You'd like to have hair on your shoulders?
Sure, yeah. No, I want to have it where you see it peeking out of the collar.
Oh, sure. They should make Dickies like that. Just a little.
Brilliant idea. Yes.
You're welcome.
So there, James.
And he's gone.
And here's Larry.
James.
Larry?
James, it might work better without, maybe it will sound better without the image.
That's a good idea.
Keep starting off.
I turned off the camera. Does this sound better?
Yeah.
It does.
So far.
Okay.
Give us, recite a poem for a second. Let's see how it goes.
I think that I shall never see a monster as lovely as a hello.
So far, so good.
Okay,
as the creature from hell it came.
It might be best to keep the video off.
Okay, we'll just do it like
for the rest of our time together.
Yeah. Yes.
Larry,
this could be the start of something.
Larry,
all right,
say something.
Hi, Matt. How are you?
Tammy, my God, he sounds great. This is Tammy. This is Larry Strothe.
You sound so sharp.
Well, that's what they call me, Mr. Sharp.
Yeah, they do call him Mr. Sharp. See, now we were talking about who we are in the Beatles of our group. I always thought that Larry was the Paul.
Now that I've met him virtually, I actually think I agree.
Yeah.
You sure Sean's not the Paul?
Yeah, well, Larry has a sort of there's an innocence, there's kind of an optimism about Paul.
Yeah.
Where that's Larry. Larry's all about optimism.
Oh yeah, that's not Sean. Sean's Mr.
I'm far from innocent.
I hate everything that comes out now.
What? Me? Yeah. Are you sure you're talking about the right person, Larry?
That Avatar.
No,
Avatar.
The only thing he doesn't like is Avatar, and that makes him hating everything.
Yeah, because
Tammy, what do you
likes
think?
It.
Yes. What was the question?
Avatar. Yes, no.
I will be honest. I saw part of the first one and I skipped the second because
that's what it is for me so far.
Yeah.
No. Everyone's laughing over Tammy's explanation. Why don't we let Tammy explain?
Please, Tammy.
Let me woman-splain it. It's not actually that exciting. I just thought it was a ridiculous thing, and I didn't need to see it. And there are so many really good films and movies right now. We're in a golden age.
Yes. Yes.
And if I've got to spend 5 hours, because that's how long it is, 5, 6, 7 hours.
No,
it seems like 5 hours.
Right.
I think it is, Larry.
No,
I think it is 7 hours.
No, it is not.
I clocked it.
So what, Tammy? You don't like blue
Showa
people? Is that what it is?
Back to back, Showa and Avatar 2.
Showa.
Right.
Make a day of it. And I'm not
What
sure
about the
which one would make you sadder.
Well, Tammy, what about the technological,
Sure. It's first
Tammy.
rate. It's first rate. What does that matter if the stories and characters suck?
The
Right.
CGI, yeah, I can't forgive that. But CGI still feels like, that's why I don't see the Transformers movies. It just feels like shrapnel.
right.
And
Yes, yeah.
Every detail is detailed,
Shrapnel.
and your eye can't take it in.
You're right.
So-
Shrapnel
Yeah,
is a great word for
I
it.
never, when it comes to the Transformers, when you're playing with the toy, that's one thing. When you're seeing an animated cartoon, that's another. But when they tried to put the Transformers in a real world setting in a movie, live action movie, no way do I believe that our origami metal comes in.
Nah.
It's a trick of the eye, and it's
Cluttered.
not believable at all.
Yeah,
just-
it's very.
It doesn't
it's very
translate.
flat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our eye, I mean, we can only take so much detail. I would actually
Right, exactly.
prefer if they blurred out or just
Something.
Do you guys
have
hey,
one feature that moves.
yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the old days, that would be like they'd spend all the money on lifting the arms, and
Yeah.
that would be,
Right.
oh, what's
And it
the
would be fabulous.
It would be fabulous. Which toy company put out? There's this toy that somebody put out that is a Transformers. I think it's like Optimus Prime, remote control, and then he does the full transforming into a car.
It's a robotics company.
Is that
Yeah,
is that
wow.
right?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. No, it's a robotics company that's working together with a toy company. I forget the name of it, but it's absolutely amazing.
Incredible.
That made me want to get that. When I saw that
Yes.
toy operate, I said, I want that, but it's very expensive.
It's very
It's like a real life Transformer.
Yeah,
Here's
it's
the
not
thing.
like
I have a car.
Right, exactly.
yes,
So-
but not one that's like only 17 inches that could move into things, Tammy.
And what's
There.
more? What do you need more? You need the car more than you need the robot.
Yeah, that's
You know
right.
what?
The
True.
robot is just going to make trouble for your life.
In
But the
LA,
car-
yes. In Palm Springs, maybe not.
That's true. You're right. Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
tell you, Matt,
It's a
Matt,
permissive place.
if you were to whip this thing out at a party, you would be so popular. They go.
I don't
"You're
know
the
how
guy
many
with the
times I've heard someone say that.
Yeah,
he's the
monster
guy with the
party, yeah.
transformer. No, yeah, come on, Tammy, you're Miss Cosplay too, right?
You're Miss Cosplay.
She's
Wow.
Miss Cosplay.
Where are you
did you
coming
get
with-
that from, Larry?
Matt
Where do
said
you
that.
get these out of the
Oh,
blue
black t-shirt.
references?
What
Did
are
you
you?
research the wrong person, Larry?
No, Matt, you said that you and
He
Tammy
was
had to do
kidding.
some cosplay.
He was kidding.
I
and
was-
there's no
I
way
was
you
that
would
was
know.
a joke.
There's no way you would know
See-
that.
See, Tammy, you see what I'm talking about here? We have to tread carefully because we will fool Larry, and we don't want to do that.
The,
We
the
want him
only,
to understand what's happening.
Right.
the only costume I've ever worn and every Halloween is the prisoner because it was really comfortable.
The
Wow.
jacket, the jacket with the
cool.
white lining.
Yeah.
Oh, love
Got a
it.
white lining.
That's
I
a,
made
that's
the
a great,
button,
yeah.
and it's flat shoes. and
Yeah.
I would just put my head back.
Slacks. Yeah, that's great.
But then I live kind of by the Scientology Center. I hope you don't have a lot of Scientologists. listening.
Ah,
I don't
Oh
think so.
man,
Doubtful.
I don't
They-
mind if we lose those people.
Yeah.
That's
Oh.
totally fine.
Every so often they change up their costumes.
really?
Yeah.
What do you
It's
mean?
Epaulets, and then it's t-shirts because they're hip and rapping with the youth.
Wow.
But for a while it was like basically you look like an usher with the prisoner costume, and they started all
Wow.
wearing that, the black with the white piping. Like, okay,
Oh, really?
wow.
That's-
Really?
Why
That's
God,
rude.
must they ruin everything?
everything.
Jeez,
I
that's
mean,
crazy.
They are. Well, I don't know if all of them are science fiction fans. I would argue none of them are.
No,
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
agree.
Really?
If they
I would
think
agree.
it's real, then
Yeah,
they-
it's not
then-
science fiction to them.
Yeah, it's true. True.
Science.
It's a little cuckoo.
Oh, you
yeah.
think? Yeah.
So I have one question about the number 6 costume. Is that what
Yes.
you wore, by the way? The number 6?
Yes.
Because you could be
Okay.
number 2. You could be like a
You could be
new
number
a
two.
new number
Did you
2.
wear-
Could.
Did you wear
but-
the badge?
Yes,
You did. Okay.
I made one. I printed out an image and
That's cool.
I did it myself.
Nice.
That's
It's gone now. I don't know where it is, but I can make another one.
This is really great. I'm
all
enjoying
right.
this
We're gonna start
conversation.
now that everyone's
But I
volume
apologize
is-
for the delay. And James, and James, how are you doing now? How are you doing?
He's good. He's just going to keep his video off because
No, I get that, Sean.
Yeah.
We don't need to see his face. I just
Tammy,
wanted to.
woman-splain this situation.
No,
to-
no,
good.
don't be
James
offensive.
James left. James is not actually
Here
in
anymore.
his own
Yeah.
house anymore. I
James.
did not think that we noticed because you guys all talk so much.
This is
Oh.
it's
Hey,
interesting
hey,
now. It's just
Tammy.
this disembodied voice with
Good.
a J.
No,
staring at us.
Tammy, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I
Oh, boy.
give opportunities for James. I give him the softball pitch, and I go, I want to know what James thinks.
That's
Or, you know,
true. He
see,
does.
Oh,
See, because I'm a considerate co-host. Now, sometimes my other co-hosts, sometimes they get a little too excited and have to cram in that thing. And when James tries
Not
to say something,
Larry.
they try to push. I
Never.
try to, no, Sean.
Let me quote Larry. No.
and
Okay.
James remained silent. Okay.
Matt, by the way, what officially are we calling this? Is it bad movie ...
Or is
or
it?
is it? Okay.
That's
okay.
kind of good, right?
I like that. Yeah.
Bad
Yeah.
movie. Or is it? See, it's all in the
Have you-
delivery.
Have you ever done a show where you meant to do one thing and then you started talking about another subject and you just
Always.
Whoa.
But,
No.
well, we go off on
no.
tangents for sure, but not.
Tangents,
we
but
will,
But then
you ever
Larry
just
comes in and
have
says,
you ever
no.
just changed the show, like the title of the show? Because
No.
you didn't
Really?
Well,
No.
yes, we did.
No,
yes,
I don't
we
believe
did.
in it. I don't
Yeah,
believe in
well,
that.
but we did though.
What?
Oh yeah, we did. You're right. In your favorite
Yes.
episode, Larry.
It was-
your
it was,
single
in our
favorite
favorite-
episode.
Sex and horror.
Well,
Because of our guest, who was a bit
uncooperative.
or
No,
was it?
Go into hell
she
to-
just went
Name,
off on her
name.
own tangents.
she
you
was
know.
Name.
dancing to the beat of a different drum. Like
Name
Ju-
names.
Jewel Shepard.
Jewel Shepard,
Jewel
Scream,
Shepard.
Scream Queen from
Oh,
Return
yeah.
of the Living Dead,
Yeah,
lots of
yeah,
other
yeah.
stuff.
yeah,
How
and
weird
she
that
was,
She had
How
a
she was
great, she had a
in
great
my
time.
opinion, she was very entertaining.
Yes,
But
I agree.
but
yeah.
To
she
you.
wasn't yes to me, but she wasn't really down with apparently doing our topic because we kept trying to introduce it to her, and she'd go off on some story, and then Larry would come back in with sex and horror, hoping that would do it. And
just
no.
to remind, yeah.
And
So-
she went on to drink all of Matt's booze and take the food.
Sometimes you need like a Sid Vicious to come in and shake things
Yeah,
up.
just, exactly.
Oh, is that what we need? Need a little
Yes, I think we do. I think we do, Larry. Considering your
Yes.
attitude about it, I think we
No.
need to do that.
Yes.
I think she needs to come back.
No.
Am I the first woman you've had since you had such a bad experience? I don't
Amazingly,
know.
no. We've
Yeah,
had
no.
other female
We-
guests.
oh, no,
I'm kidding.
We had a
Um,
meeting afterwards, like no more broads. No,
Yeah.
Yes.
no.
This is the boys' club. That's
Yeah.
it. From now on. Yeah.
And we're jiving here, Tammy. We're just
We're
joking,
just-
you know.
Tammy, we're just joking.
We're shooting from the hip.
We've had lots of broads
know.
on since then.
I know you have.
No, we'd like to have more, you know. And that's why
One
Do you hear
broad
that?
at a
You hear
time.
that,
Larry,
women out there?
You're canceled, Larry.
how am I canceled? I'm
Canceled.
thrilled
I'm
to
sorry.
have
You're
I
you.
don't
officially canceled.
I don't make the rules.
Yeah, it just
Yeah,
happens.
it just happens. You got to just
It
go
happens.
with it. You got to now climb your way back. Good luck with that, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the apology tour. Good luck.
Oh, there won't be an apology tour. I'll just
Well,
cut it.
that's
I'll
one
just
of the
cut it.
reasons why you're canceled.
See?
Already up front, you're
You're
like
fa-
the no
I
apology.
did nothing wrong, he claims.
Oh,
Right.
oh, sure he didn't.
That's
Okay.
All right.
This is
I should
this
let you
is
start
great.
the show.
This is great.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
let's
good.
start it though.
I can't
Let's do it.
wait for this one.
Okay, here we go. Larry, just do your little thing that you were saying again a little
Do
bit.
your little thing, Larry.
Do your little opinion,
Do
whatever.
your
that
cute
was.
little thing you
That
do.
little you know that bullshit that you just like craft into words. Do that.
Okay.
No,
James?
this is
James?
this is one
James,
of those legendary
James, start again. James.
ideas that comes out.
He's in his own dimension now. He's just
James, you know what? James,
he's like in the Spock in the Tholian web. He's just like floating outside.
He's a malfunctioning Cylon.
Yeah.
By your command.
James, can you start over again, please?
Can you hear me?
Oh my god, that is so bizarre.
Oh my god,
that was like Roger Daltrey underwater or something. It's weird.